Hi, I'm Mary Beth Bennett. I'm the Ag and Natural Resource Extension Agent in Berkeley County. And today we're here to learn how to teach children what plants need to grow through making a Beanie Baby. Okay, so the essential ingredients for Beanie Babies are a small plastic bag, and these I purchased through Quill, and I'm sure I've seen them in Walmart, I've seen them at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, places like that. So these are 2x3 2 milliliter bags. These come in a pack of 100 of them, and I got them through Quill, and I think we got 1,000 of them when we ordered them. What I did was go through and punch holes in the top of each one above the Ziploc thing, because we want to keep the Ziploc in place. So there's a hole here, and what we need is a cotton ball. Oops, had one of those. Cotton ball and some seeds. We have some right here. So this activity encourages children to look at what plants need, okay? And what I like to tell people is the simple method is to tell them to use the word plant. Okay, if they look at P-L-A-N-T and S, they need a place, they need light, they need air, they need nutrients, they get thirsty, and we put them in soil generally, okay, but not all the time, so I put sometimes soil. So what we're providing here with the use of the little baggie is a place for them, okay, and what we do is we add a cotton ball, and then we add water to the cotton ball. Just slowly get this out and open this up. We add the cotton ball, put that down in here. Usually, when I'm teaching this class, I pre-wet my cotton balls because I'm usually doing it for 30, 40 youngsters. So we don't need a whole lot of water, okay? We just want to moisten the cotton ball. We don't want to totally saturate it, okay? We want to moisten it, because if we get too much water in there, the seeds will rot. So we provided a place, we've provided water, so we have part of that done. Then we provide light, but we don't really need to. This is a clear bag, so it could get light if it really needed light. Air, we're gonna do a little experiment with air because it's not essential when it's a seed, okay, although there's air in the soil. So we're gonna plant the seeds, and generally what I'll do is I have a little tiny round seed, and I ask the students to describe the seeds, give me the characteristics of that seed. And characteristic is a big word for little people, but they need to hear it because that's something that we look at, is ask what the characteristics are, because this seed, the characteristic would be that it was round and it was a tan colored seed, and that's part of, and if you look at it hard, there used to be eyes on here. They might be able to see a little eye on it. I used to have ones years ago, had nice big eyes on them. But characteristics are important because we all have characteristics. We have hair color, we have eye color, we have skin colors, different things like that. So characteristic is a key term. And in this case, I have another little seed, and this is a bean seed, but it's totally different from my other one. And this is a green bean seed, a wonder bean, and it has a little eye, and it's brown, so they don't all have to be similar. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these seeds, and generally what I would do would be use a corn seed and a bean seed and put them in my bag here, because then I could talk about having a monocot and a dicot. And in this case, they're both dicots, okay, because they're both bean seeds, and actually the one is a soybean, okay. And very common seed. A lot of our vegetable oils that we use today are soybean based, so you don't realize how much soybeans have kind of invaded our lives, okay. A lot of soybeans are used today. I've seen crayons made with them and a lot of other products, but they're very good. So what I want people to do is once they put the seeds in their baggie, okay, before you seal it up, okay, I want you to take it, I want you to take your fingers, and I want you to push as much of the air out of there as you can. This is a little experiment because we said initially that plants need air to grow. But we're going to try something. We're going to push the air out so that your bag is as flat as you can make it, And then what we do is we take and put the string through the hole. Okay, and we talk about nutrients, okay, is part of the word plants, okay, nutrients. And the fact is that that seed contains all the nutrients to start that seed. They're inside until it can get up and develop its own leaves so that it can go through the photosynthesis and make its own food. So nutrients are very important, but we need them in the soil to help promote the plant growth and whatnot. And then we have the T for thirsty, for water, and sometimes soil. And sometimes we plant seeds in soil, and more now they're coming up with hydroponic systems where they're planting plants into a water-based system and providing all the nutrients for those plants via they're putting the supplements in the water that goes into the system that feeds the plants. But I also went out and purchased a plant last year, and it had coconut coir as the medium to grow things in. So we're using a lot of different things. We're using byproducts and whatnot. Compost soil is wonderful to grow plants in. Compost material, okay, it's not necessarily soil, but it's replacing soil and builds up the soil structure itself. So there's our Beanie Baby, and I have another experiment for people to have. Usually when I have a class full of students, I'll ask half of them to put the Beanie Baby down their shirts and half the class to wear them outside their shirts. And I happen to have multiple ones here with me today, so I'll put one outside and one inside. And I ask them to create a hypothesis of which seeds do they think will sprout first? The one that we put inside the shirt or the ones we put outside exposed to the light? Okay, and this is an experiment with light. Okay, we've got an experiment going on with air because we try to push as much air out of them as we can, and we're experimenting with light too. Will the ones inside our shirts grow because they don't have any light, and will the ones outside our shirts be the first to germinate because they do have light? So our hypothesis would be we expect the ones outside to germinate first, or sprout if you would, first, because they're exposed to light. But when you think about where we plant seeds in the soil in the spring, and hopefully the soil is warmed up by the sun and it reaches a certain temperature before we put the seeds in. Because if the seeds don't have the right temperature and they don't have the right amount of water, they won't sprout, okay? And sometimes in the spring we'll hear farmers or other people say they planted too early and the beans rotted in place, okay? We have problems with houseplants, and there's a tendency for people to overwater houseplants rather than underwater, but some of us forget to water too, so we underwater houseplants. But either one is a stress to the plant, okay? And we have to be careful and take care of things. And what they recommend for houseplants is that you feel the soil that's in the pot, and it's not the soil at the top, but a little bit down into the pot to make sure that it has sufficient water, okay? So water is a key ingredient. So once again, which seeds are going to germinate first? The ones I have exposed to light or the ones I have inside my shirt, okay? And that it's something that you can experiment with. Like I said, we've got an experiment going with light. We've got it with air. Will they grow in this little baggie that we put on here? And they do, I can guarantee you, but I don't know that these will. These are a couple years old, so they may not germinate right, but we'll try to get new seeds this year. And as I was indicating earlier, I like to put a corn seed and a bean seed in here together, so I have a monocot and a dicot. And I tell the children that an easy way to remember what a monocot is mono meaning one, is to remember the monorail at Disney World or Disneyland, that they have a train that goes around the park and it has one rail. So that's an easy way to remember. Monorail means one rail. So one cot means seed. So one seed, or one leaf, actually, sorry, wrong one. One leaf is what it stands for. So when the corn seed sprouts, it comes up, one leaf comes up and pokes its head through the soil, and that's our corn seed or grass seed. And then a bean seed, actually, when it germinates, it comes up, it has two leaves to it. So dicot, you think about when we play with a game, we have a pair of dice that we roll, and we call that a die. So it's meaning two. So dicot means two leaves. So if you can remember that, that's an easy way to try and remember some terminology that you might have to know down the road. And actually, monocots tend to be grasses and dicots tend to be our broadleaf plants. Okay, and that's important if we're trying to control weeds in our lawn. Okay, we have lots of calls from people that have lawns and they want to keep them green, and they give us a call and we tell them get a broadleaf weed killer, and then that doesn't bother the grass seed, okay, because that's the way it's developed. But I hesitate to make recommendations like that, because we can do certain things like adjust our mowing height or leaving the grass clippings on to prevent some of the problems that we have with lawns, okay? And a lot of times in the summertime, the lawns will get stressed because we have droughts and they turn brown, but as soon as we get water, they'll turn green again. So it's just a little bit of patience and trying to work with nature. So just a concept, and one of the other things I want to stress too is plants are important in that if you're inside, it's good to have plants in your house or in your office area, because they're exchanging, okay, with the air. Needed to go back and reinforce this with the air, because the plants give off oxygen that we need to breathe, and we give off carbon dioxide that the plants take in. So there's a nice relationship there, a marriage if you would, in that we breathe out carbon dioxide, the plants take in. And my parrot's having a fit over here, so excuse her. But it's a good exchange. So that's one of the key things that's important for plants is in our lives, is they not only provide us with food, but they help us with the environment as well. So there's a quick and easy lesson on Beanie Babies. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope your beans sprout for you and you learn something from this activity. One other activity I want to show you to kind of reinforce what we're doing is we're talking about plants, and one fun thing I like to do, hands-on activity, is this. I create a bouquet of flowers actually, and I put it away, sorry, but I like to make flowers that I can leave with the teacher. So I found the fun way to do that is to buy dollar store silk flowers, okay, and I go to the dollar store and purchase these, and then I pick up pens there, and I pick up what they call floral tape, okay? And if anybody's ever worked with floral tape, the trick to getting floral tape to work for you is to stretch it so that it will adhere to itself, okay? And this makes it kind of a nice activity, and it doesn't work real well with children because they don't understand about stretching tape, okay? So it works for a little older individuals or adults. So highly recommend, if you want to try this, it's kind of a fun thing to do. And I ended up with a really pretty bouquet of flowers, and I'll try and show you what it looked like. If I can do that later, but you get the idea. And it was kind of fun because I go into school and teachers are always complaining that their pens and pencils disappear because the students pick them up and keep them, whereas if you do something like this, you set them in a container at the front of the room, let the children use them during the daytime, and ask them to put it back so you have a nice bouquet there to greet you in the morning. And I've gone into schools and found that they've done exactly this. They've taken different flowers, and you can do them by the school color themes if you like, if you're lucky enough to have the flowers in those colors, or just in general a mixture of colors. It's really kind of fun, and it makes you kind of happy in the morning. So in this difficult time that we're having, make yourself a bouquet of flowers.